Hey everyone, I'm TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom, and today I'm going to gush about my favorite fantasy tropes. Since my birthday was 2 days ago, I thought I would do a fun video to celebrate. So today is all about my favorite tropes in my favorite genre. That's right, fantasy. Because why would I want to read about the boring real world when I could read about dragons? I mean, there's magic and adventure, so what's not to love? Wait, don't answer that. That's another video. Moving on, let's break down my 10 favorite tropes in fantasy. Number 1, the self-fulfilling prophecy. I know, everyone is all chosen one this and evil lord that, but what I'm here for is the prophecy that didn't have to come true. A self-fulfilling prophecy is when someone knows a prophecy and through their efforts to circumvent it, they actually cause it to come true. Also, they can cause it to come true simply because their belief in it causes their behaviors to align with the prophecy. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of the first one. It's kind of fun to watch someone, especially a villain, cause their own downfall by trying to avoid it. Take Voldemort, for example. How different would that story have gone if he had just left Harry alone and waited for Dumbledore to die? Or the story of Oedipus. If his father hadn't tried to have him killed to avoid the prophecy, it probably never would have come true. Is it cruel to enjoy watching someone engineer their own downfall? Number 2, the epic quest. But TM, I hear you say, isn't most fantasy about an epic quest? Yes. And? Have you considered that there might be a reason for that? A quest is fun. You get to explore this fantasy world with a character, or even better, a group of characters, and meet all these creatures and races, all while chasing a tangible goal. There's adventure and battle, and best of all, the feeling of satisfaction when the quest is over and the goal's achieved. For me, that's what fantasy is about. A villain to defeat, an evil artifact to destroy, a kingdom to save. Whatever the goal, the fun is in the quest to achieve it. It's the friends that are made, the monsters that are fought, and the lands that are explored. Number 3, shades of gray. The world is bigger than black and white moralistic ideas, and I love it when fantasy reflects this. But TM, you just said that you like fantasy because it doesn't reflect reality. You got me there. Just kidding. Yes, I love fantasy because it's not the real world, but I still need some level of believability. Something that I can relate to my own life. To be honest, gray morality is just fun to work with on a character level. Whether it's a sympathetic villain who took the wrong path for the right reasons, or a hero who struggles to balance a gentle heart with necessary acts of violence. That's what I love. Not necessarily the hardened anti-hero, but characters who struggle with the morality of their actions. Number 4, big worlds. So, world building technically isn't a trope, but it's my list, and I like to have 10 things on a list, so world building it is. World building is one of the best parts of fantasy. A huge, well-built world is amazing for me. Show me the cultures and the races. Think outside the box and give me a new and interesting world. Do your elves live in cities or are they nomads? Are your dwarves hardy miners or greedy merchants? The possibilities are endless. Now, obviously, not every member of a race is going to be the same, and that's even better. Show me a culture's traditions by showing me the members who are trying to turn those traditions around. Okay, I'm getting too excited here. The bottom line is this. I love fantasy world building, which is why I'm still working on my Dragon Rider story. I don't even have a complete plot yet because I've been stuck on world building. Number 5, True Evil. 2 items ago, I was raving about how great gray morality is, and now I'm saying I love true evil? What? That's right. Just because the world isn't always black and white doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who are just evil. I could name a few dozen true crime podcasts to prove that point. The thing is, in fantasy worlds, sometimes it's fun to have a villain who's just a villain. They don't always need to have a reason for their heinous acts. Maybe they just enjoy killing peasants. Maybe they just want power for the sake of power. I mean, everybody wants to rule the world, right? Regardless of if it's a tyrannical king or a power-mad sorcerer, sometimes it's fun to watch the heroes take down a bad guy who's exactly that. Number 6, wizards. Another trope that isn't necessarily a trope because I do what I want. I love wizards. Magic is part of what draws me to fantasy, so a good wizard character is definitely going to help sell me on your story. From Gandalf the Grey to Rincewind or even Taco from TV, wizards are just fun. They can be wise mentor characters or bumbling students just barely holding it together. There are so many possibilities. Plus, magic is just cool. I'll take a fireball over a sword any day. And have you seen those robes? Way more comfortable than armor, I'm sure. Number 7, diverse worlds. And yes, we're back to world building because I'm boring like that. You know what else is boring? The same old medieval England inspired fantasy worlds. Yeah, it's a tried and true world building technique, but there are so many cultures that are just vastly more interesting than the dirty peasants and inbred rulers of medieval England. I love it when an author steps out of that comfort zone and gives me something more interesting and unique. A world that's inspired by ancient Greece and ancient Rome? I'm here for it. How about a dragon story about the dragons of ancient China? I'll take that. Those are just 2 examples from books that I've read and loved, but I'm dying for more of that. Number 8, magical objects. What's fantasy without a cursed object or an enchanted sword or 5? I really love this one in combination with the quest trope. I love an adventure in search of a magical object or a way to destroy it or even both. I really fell in love with this idea in the balance arc of the Adventure Zone podcast. And of course, The Lord of the Rings. I love objects of power, especially when they're important to the plot. I don't know, they're just so much fun. Plus, I love a quest with a tangible goal, and finding a way to destroy the One Ring, or collecting all of the spiritual stones, or finding the magic sword that can kill the evil warlord is exactly that. Number 9, dragons. Because races or species as a trope is apparently what I do. I love dragons. They're magical, they're strong, they're beautiful, and they're just fun. And there are so many types of dragons. Fire, ice, water, and then you have things like wyverns, worms, and drakes, which may not technically be dragons, but they're in the dragon family. The possibilities are endless. Good dragons, evil dragons, dragons that can reason and communicate and think like any other species, or dragons that are just animals. I don't know what it is exactly that draws me to dragons, but I can't get enough of them. I mean, they're even in my logo, so you had to know this was coming. Number 10, Mythology. What? More world building? Like you didn't expect this by now. Mythology is fun. Give me your gods and goddesses, your creation myths, your monotheistic and polytheistic religions. Show me the cults that are rising up. Give me paladins and clerics who are steadfast in their beliefs. How has the religion shaped the culture? Are magic and religion intertwined? I mean, there's so much potential here. Granted, I've been fascinated with real-world mythology since I was a kid, so this was just a natural step for me. Okay, so that's it for my favorite fantasy tropes. You can let me know your favorite fantasy trope in the comments down below, or you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And if you want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos on Sundays. See you next time. Yes, let the anger flow through you. I'm Team Sparrow. I feel like a vampire. I want to suck your blood. That's right, fantasy. Come on down. Ooh. You're not going to get to be in this video because I'm not going to try to pick you up because last time you growled at me. Take Voldemort, for example. How different would that story have been if he had just left Harry alone and waited for Voldemort to die? Oh my gosh. Take Voldemort, for example. It's a great big universe and we're all really puny. We're just tiny little specks about the size of Mickey Rooney. 2 items ago, I was raving about how great gray morality is, and now I'm losing my train of thought again. Because I do what I want. I love wizards. Another trope that isn't necessarily a trope because I do what I want. And you have things like wyverns, worms, and drakes. One for the outtakes.
Oh, come on. My name is Drake Sparrow.
For the outtakes.
Drakes.
For the outtakes.
Toasty! Any
You're
Mortal Kombat
so
fan would
weird.
get that.